Welcome to this Flutter Charts tutorial. In this video, I will show you how to lazy load data while panning in the Syncfusion Flutter Charts widget. I am using an example application configured with the Syncfusion Flutter Charts widget with a spline area series. The spline area series is created by using the data source property, and the data is received from the chart data field that is set in the function setChartData with sample numeric x and y values. I have mapped the x and y axes and customized the color of the series. In the x-axis, I have provided the interval of 2 and disabled auto interval on zooming. I have customized the grid lines for both the x and y axes. To learn how to integrate the Charts widget into a Flutter application, check out the Getting Started video linked in the card above and the description below. Let me run this application in an Android emulator. You can see the chart with data x and y numeric values. Next, I will show you how to lazy load data in the chart while swiping. First, let me enable panning so that I can swipe inside the Charts widget. In the My Home Page State class, I declare the Zoom Pen behavior field. In the init state method, I define it by enabling panning. In the Charts widget, I set the Zoom Pen behavior property with the created field. Next, I need to configure the widget to load more data when I swipe the chart's x-axis. To do this, in the Charts widget, I add the onActualRange change callback. When the orientation is horizontal, I need to check whether the user has reached the end of the data currently visible on the chart. To monitor the range boundaries, I define a Boolean variable isLoadMoreView with the value false. Also, I declare two variables to store the previous axis minimum and maximum visible values. In the onActualRange change callback when isLoadMoreView is true, I set the previous axis visible values to the range changed arguments. This will prevent any change in the view until the new data loads. Otherwise, I set the arguments values to the previous variables and set the isLoadMoreView to false, signaling that loading is complete for now. Next, I'll build the loading indicator to improve the user experience when swiping is performed. In the Charts widget, I use the LoadMoreIndicator builder function to build the spinner widget. I'll build it using a private method. I implement the method buildLoadMoreIndicator. When the swipe direction is end, I need to return the spinner widget. Otherwise, I return an empty box. Within the if condition, I return a stateful builder widget. Next, I create a widget and return it, and then set the widget with a progress indicator builder function. I implement the function and copy and paste the spinner widget code from the Syncfusion Flutter documentation page. I have added styles along with the circular progress indicator widget. Now, when I swipe the chart, you can see the circular indicator spinning continuously. Next, let me show you how to load data and stop the spinner. I call a method named lazyLoadData and implement the method as an asynchronous future function. To simulate a loading process, I add a delay function for 1 second and then load the data. Next, I define a random field that I am going to use to add more items to the chart data collection. I create a field to store the chart's last x value, allowing me to generate new values in a continuous, seamless sequence. I use the chart data field and add 4 new chart points. I use the last x and random fields to generate them. Now I need to update these new data points in the chart series. To do this, I declare a chart series controller field. In the build spline area series method, I use the onRenderer created callback and fill the series controller object. In the lazy load data method, I use the series controller and call the update data source method by passing the added data indexes property. This generates a list of the indices of the 4 newly added data points. This statement ensures that the new data points are added sequentially at the end of the current chart data. I need to define when to initiate the data and render the UI with the updated data. So I define two Boolean variables, isNeedToUpdate view set to false, and isDataUpdated set to true as its default value. In the buildLoadMoreIndicator function, I set the isNeedToUpdate view to true. I wrap the progress indicator and lazy load data methods within an if condition to execute them only if isNeedToUpdate view is true. This serves as a toggle for updating the UI when more data needs to be loaded. I set the data updated property to true. In the else part, I set the widget with a container widget. In the lazy load data method, I set the isNeedToUpdate view to false, signaling that the view update process is complete at this point. Wrap the entire data updating code with an if condition to execute only if isDataUpdated is true.
Within the condition, I set the isDataUpdated property to false to prevent any further data updates until the next lazy load is triggered.
Also, I set the isLoadMore view to true so that the view refresh can proceed to show the new data. Finally, in the dispose method, I set the series controller object with null so that it frees up the resources properly. Next, I need to raise the loading indicator to the visual when I start loading the data and remove it after loading the data. To do this, I declare a global key with a state type. In the buildLoadMoreIndicator function, I assign the global key field. Now, in the lazy load data function, I add a condition to check that the global key's current state is not null and call the setState method by passing an empty function. This will trigger a rebuild of the widget associated with the global key without updating any specific state variables directly. I set this key to the stateful builder to set the same state. Now, when I swipe the chart, you can see the loading indicator for 1 second, and then the data is loaded. I can load more data by swiping the chart again, and the loading indicator stops spinning once the data is loaded. Let us see how the same code works in a web browser. I'll stop the application, change the device name to Chrome, and run the application. You can see the chart with data. I swipe the chart, and the data loads as expected. Finally, let me show you how this works on the desktop. I change the device to Windows and run the application. You can see the chart with data. I swipe to load more data, and the loading indicator spins and then loads the data. In this video, I have shown you how to lazy load data while panning in the Syncfusion Flutter Charts widget. You can download the example used in this video from the GitHub link in the description below. I have also included a link where you can check if you're eligible for our community license, which gives you a free license key for all of our Flutter products. If you found this video useful, click the like button and subscribe to our channel to get notifications about new videos. Thanks for watching.